We both have the same thing.
Official catchy jingle from the city till I stack to lead to red. Live that SIMI. Time trips on the mind. Wake vibes too strong, he's in the top to life. Live that SIMI. From the city to live that SIMI.
We back here and we got a great show lined up for y'all. If some of my guests look familiar, you might remember them from a few weeks ago, which is Adama, and we also have Maya, and we also have Malia and Miley. Okay, so let's just get this show off the road. Let's get it started. Adama, and I'm still saying it wrong. Please give them a brief introduction for you again, and Maya, after she's done, then you can give them your brief introduction also.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adama, and I am a local Staten Island for the past 5 years. I have a newly found nonprofit organization with my partner here called the Healing Threads, and we're here to talk about that.
Okay.
Well, everyone, hi. My name is Maya, and I'm also the co-founder of the Healing Threads Wellness Collective, rooted here in Staten Island. I'm originally from Brooklyn,
Hey.
but I consider myself also a Staten Islander, so it's great to be here today.
All right, and it's great to have y'all here.
Thank you.
So let's just take it from the top. This is a newly found organization. Please give us the background on this organization, and why, the who, what, where's, and why. We need to know.
Sure.
So this organization started from, Adama and I have both many years of experience working with communities, especially in outreach, and we felt that this was the right time for us to venture out on our own and create what we have now, this nonprofit organization called the Healing Threads Wellness Collective.
Okay.
It comes from lived experience to begin with, but it also comes from the ability to see what's going on in the communities and share with locals and see where there's a lot of need, and from being able to work with other organizations to see, where there's a lot of communities that incredibly need help, and they're not necessarily getting the resources that they need because of whatever barriers they're meeting or they're coming across. So that's basically where all of this came from. We felt that it was the right time for us to go on our own, not only because we've lived through that experience, we've worked with the communities, but also because we bring some special gifts into this community. We're both certified in many areas, and we felt that this was the right time to put those gifts into our own organization, and this is where the birth of the Healing Threads came from.
Okay. And
We met from another organization, and the work that we thought we were going to be doing for this organization was not what it was. So, our hearts were not in it.
right.
We decided, okay, I think it's time that we both have many years experience, and the part of it all that was very heartbreaking for us is, we're not able to reach the community like we want to, the work that we wanted to do was just, not happening. So we were just like, let's just go do our own thing. Yes, we know it's not going to be easy, but, our heart is in it. We know exactly what it is that we want to offer the community. So, yeah, We're
Right.
just gonna keep grinding until we are able to reach as many people as we can. It's our responsibilities, especially having children, to be able to bring healing to the community. It's needed.
It's much needed out here.
Yes, definitely.
And I commend y'all from, taking a bad situation and making it good. Because no matter how bad things may get or may seem, there's always some good in there. And, instead of focusing on the bad part, you have to find the good and pull that out. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think we bring something a little bit more different that a lot of the organizations that we worked with do. And it's the fact that we're not clinical. We're not here to judge. We're not here to make things structured or linear. We're here to bring healing in a fun and expressive way. We want people to be able to come as they are, and from there move on to maybe finding clarity so that they can find their purpose in a way that aligns with what they have inside. We want that light to shine through. So I think we bring a little bit of so many tools and techniques that are based around creativity, which is what I think a lot of people need. They need to be able to express themselves, especially when words are hard to come by. People don't carry their words on their shoulders and tell the world what's going on in their lives.
Right.
But when you give them certain tools and techniques, you let their hands do the talking. And when you let their hands do the talking, you'll see some beautiful masterpieces that come out of that. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
It just has to align with what's inside of them, and that's how they get to start feeling safe. They start to see that they're being heard, they're being seen, and then from there we can continue on to provide them with the tools and the resources that they need to be able to move on in life and to accomplish whatever it is that they want to accomplish, being their goals, their dreams, or even to succeed in life.
Right.
And it brings them so much pride when they create something. Even like my girl, she was so happy today. She got to sew her first time, because I've been keeping the needle away from her because I'm just like, you're not ready yet for that.
Right.
But today I was just like, let's try this. So she made something using a needle, and she was so very proud of it. And I think that's the whole point of creative wellness, using creativity to heal. It really does, like just that feeling after you create something, it takes you to a whole nother space. You feel so much joy from creating, knowing that you made something. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just knowing that, okay, I did that, and I'm
Right.
going to keep doing that until it gets better.
Right. They say practice makes perfect,
Yes.
but in this world, okay, we can't seek perfection because it's just like the blind leading the blind. There's never going to be perfect. You understand what I'm saying? So we just have to accept that and not be so hypercritical over ourselves,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So please let us know all the services that you offer, because are y'all like community health people also?
Yes,
Because
yes.
it's much needed.
Yes,
That's needed
yes.
also.
Part of the work that we
Yes.
do is based around mental and emotional wellness. So we make the point to make it a focus to help people slow down, to reflect, to engage in community programs that, because sometimes, there's the saying that says it takes a village.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we can be neighbors and not know anything about each other. So I think communication and connection is very important for us to be able to heal, not as an individual only, but also as a community. So so that's the purpose, to give people a space, or even give them a place where they can come and just relax, reflect, to reconnect with themselves, but also with others in a way that it feels nurturing, in a way that it feels that it's safe, and that where they can be heard. So we created many workshops and programs based on that. They're all intergenerational, so they can be catered to different age groups. It doesn't have to be a specific form or anything like that. But we include elements that are kind of all related, but then there are other areas where we like to have people explore a little bit more. So if we have children from like Miley's age, we make sure that we give them tools that are age appropriate, so that that they can work around them and use them to bending glue and stuff like that. It sounds simple, but sometimes you want to make sure that they're using tools that are safe for them to use.
Right.
You know, and then we do the same thing for teenagers or for seniors. So everything is adaptable. Everything can be interchangeable. But we make sure that we include everybody. Nobody's excluded from our programs and workshops. We want everybody to feel like they can come to us and get a service that is, you know, particular to their needs, but also something that they can continue with you know, using it once they leave our studio or leave our space or even leave our class.
Okay.
So you know, so everything it's adaptable, which is what we wanted to do from the very beginning. We don't want to feel that anybody is excluded from having these
Right.
experiences. But Adama is great at explaining what our workshops and programs are, because she puts a little heart more into it. So.
So the programs that we have are all, you know, just like Maya said, it's really for everyone, every demographic, every age range. I feel like we put a lot of thought into it because, you know, we want to make sure that we are able to reach as many people as possible. You know, it takes a community, it takes a village. So we do have, one of them is the Mindful Mondays, which is, it's a support group pretty much, where we all come together and we just talk. You know, we explore different topics. You know, it could be anything, but it's just to get us to get to know each other,
Yes.
just to, you know, just to talk about, it doesn't have to be about feelings, it doesn't have to be about what you're going through, but it's just conversation, you know, conversation
Yeah, open,
around
right.
whatever it is. More like socializing, really.
Okay.
So, you know, that's something that I really, I feel like people do need. A lot of people are so stuck here on their phones, so
right.
that having that face-to-face interaction is always a good thing. Another program we have is our Tea Wednesdays, which is where we get to explore with different types of teas and their healing benefits, which is pretty cool to me. I love tea, so I am, this is my arena. But, you know, I feel like tea, you know, you can have it hot or cold, but there's something about just sitting down and having a cup of tea that calms you.
Right.
You know, and a lot, I don't think a lot of people do know that different kinds of teas have different, you know, healing properties, hidden benefits. You know, I know this is a coffee culture, but
I didn't want to say the brand.
yeah,
Like, it's
you
coffee,
know,
but it's like a
yeah.
specific brand everybody
Exactly.
runs out there to get. And you don't know what you're putting in your body.
Exactly,
So healthy
exactly.
is always better.
So, you know, I feel like tea is definitely, you know, it's a root. It's usually flowers, it's herbs, it's, you know, it's medicine. It's medicine, you know.
Right.
People do get a lot of healing. That's why you see, like, in other parts of the world, even for me, like growing up, that was what we drank every morning was a root. You know, it's a herb that my dad will have us take a shot of every morning. You know, we can heat it up or we can, you know, have it just as it is, but it's healing. It's, you know, it helps you in all ways, mentally, physically, emotionally. It just regulates you.
Right, and it's healthy.
And it's healthy.
Exactly.
You know,
It's
you
not
don't
that
have, you don't
soda
need,
and all
yeah,
that.
Exactly.
and you don't need all the extra things. Most of them, you really don't need to add any sweetener. You're good with just your, you know, just as it is.
Well, I don't know about that right there.
You can if you want to. You can
Right,
have
right,
your sweetener, you can have honey, you can have sugar, whatever you
Right,
please,
right.
you know, just to enhance it too. Because certain, yeah, especially like the flower teas, you do need a little bit of sweetener to enhance the flavor.
Right.
It's, yeah, it's
But it's
better.
to each his own.
Exactly, exactly. So we you know, we want people to be able to explore that part of wellness, of healing. And what else? We have our social Saturdays.
Social Saturdays. Yes.
Social Saturdays. So that is also where we have a meet where we'll do like board games or self-reflection where we'll do that. This is more of like
It gives you a variety of things that you can do using board
Yeah.
games. You'll be surprised what board games can do. You know, they can improve critical thinking. They can actually do engagement, because we want people not just to play with the same age groups. We want people to play with the 80-year-old, you know, neighbor.
Exactly.
You know, that can teach them a couple of things. It's all about engagement.
Yes.
But at the same time, it does create other areas where people can, you know, especially the youngsters nowadays that, you know, having trouble with self-regulation, you know, with relaxation, and, you know, so those kind of moments can be fun, but at the same time is teaching you something else, which is to calm down, to, you know, think critically while you're playing, when you're making moves, when you're engaging with somebody else.
Right.
So, you know, that's just a fun way for the community to come together, but at the same time take advantage of the benefits of doing this kind of social event with different age groups in the same room.
Yes, I mean, that's also much needed. Not to cut you off, it's just like you have so many great things going on. You know, I'm just like, wow, I'm knocked out over here.
Yay.
The biggest thing was the electronic devices. It's so hard to
Yes.
get these kids to put that down,
Yeah.
and you know, I see I got that
And
Yes.
included in every single one of
Yes.
your activities. So
Yes.
And we don't want to exclude technology, because we know the importance of having technology, and we know the benefits of having knowledge of how to navigate the system when it comes to technology. But we also see that our youngsters are too you know, controlled by these devices, and unfortunately, you know, they're going through some difficulties when it comes to self-regulation. You know, you can't take a gadget away without this child, you know, having a meltdown because you took it away. So, you know, we want to be able, once we have our own space, we want to be able to have some computers so that kids can come and use them, but use them in a proper way to do homework or to navigate the system in a safe way. You know, they can play a video game if they want, but video games that are age appropriate. You know, not something that's gonna make them even more edgier than they already are. We don't want to see that.
Edgy.
But we know the
Yeah.
benefits of technology. Like I said, I have an 11-year-old son who taught himself how to code.
thank you.
You know, and we went through a little bit of a situation where he was using coding not necessarily for the best things. So I've been kind of like pulling him away from that and teaching him how he can create little avatars and gadgets, or even little things that he can use to improve other children's way of doing homework, or, you know, other ways of, you know, engaging in other games that are safe. So we know the benefits of it. We don't want to take all that away from them, but there's a proper way of using these things. So that's one goal that we also want to have, and also have computers where anyone from our age group who needs a resume to be updated, we can help them do that, or find resources from the community that they need, but they don't know how to navigate the system. We're more than happy to help them to do that. So there's a lot of things that we're hoping to do, you know, and there's other programs that, you know, that we're slowly kind of putting into place as well. You know, as a photographer, you know, I did photography for many years, but I didn't see my heart in it anymore.
Right.
But then I found an outlet where I felt like, well, I can still use photography to help people build their self-confidence. And that's another thing that we're
Yes.
incorporating in there, how to get people to see themselves in a different light while improving their confidence to, you know, go get a job if they need to, or, you know, build on it to create a platform or a website where they can promote themselves or promote their work. You know, just to build that confidence in them. So there's other ways that you can use those kinds of tools to benefit someone else's life, as you can say, their life or whatever it is that they're hoping to go for. So, you know, there's so many things that we're trying to create that we know it's different from what we normally see, because like I said, we don't want anything to be so clinical. We want it to be in fun and engagement and engaging. So so there's a lot of things that Adama and I sit down and every day we explore and say, hey, what if we do this? Hey, what if we do that? So, you know, there's so much still that's in the works, but that we really feel that it will be very beneficial for the communities that we work in.
Yes.
Right, and appreciate it. It's much needed.
Yes.
You know, people don't understand how when you come from just something totally different and you come out here, and it's such a culture shock when you come here. It really is. You're from Brooklyn, like I'm from Brooklyn, and you know, I can't imagine having neighbors and you don't interact with your neighbors. But here, that's like the normal here, you know, which is crazy.
That's
you
crazy.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the areas that they pick and choose which one gets the services is another crazy thing, because we're all one, united. So if you're bringing up this area over here and you're ignoring this area over here, this area drops down too.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Definitely.
You know,
Exactly.
so what are your target areas here? Is it the whole entire Staten Island, or are there areas, Stapleton gets a lot of, okay, Park Hill also. You know,
Yes.
I live in the area of Richmond Terrace in New Brighton, which gets nothing, okay? So I hope we're on your list of areas that you're doing the outreach in, you know. Y'all are looking for a physical location?
We are.
That's our main goal.
Yes,
Okay.
That's our
that's
main
really
goal.
because you know, a lot of the programs that we do offer, we can come to a space, but I feel like having our own space makes it a lot easier to be able to facilitate these classes, you know, especially like I'm talking about the tea, the Wednesday teas. You know, it would be nice to have our own space to be able to have that where we, you know, slow down, hang out, and just sip on your tea. That's very hard to be able to transport that across the island,
Right.
you know, to go here and there. But yeah, so that's our you know, our main goal is to definitely get a physical location. We are hoping to serve all of Staten Island, really.
Please, yes.
You know, but our focus obviously is the marginalized communities. We want to make sure that the communities that are not getting the, you know,
Arlington,
the, yeah,
okay,
you know,
Arlington needs it.
exactly.
Mariners Harbor.
Yep.
Okay. It's like it's certain areas that just get overshadowed.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I've been living here 16 years, and it's like
Yeah.
you would expect a change, and it's like a decline. Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't have nothing when I came here, and now they got nothing. So I
Yeah.
don't know how you go
Yeah.
from nothing
All right.
to nothing.
To nothing.
Right. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's sad because a lot of the organization, the so-called organization that are supposed to take care of the community that are in the community, are not doing that work either. So you know,
Exploiting.
yeah, exploiting, you know,
That's one thing
the
that
whole
we definitely
thing.
saw while
Yeah.
we were working with the last organization.
Yeah.
That, well, you know, Adama did this wonderful thing. She basically ran the Open Streets program with the organization that we were working with. And the few times that I went there to assist her, we were working with a lot of children in the community, and we saw a lot of issues in terms of literacy. Half of these children couldn't read,
Yeah.
and they were already in the 2nd and 3rd grade. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how is this happening?
Yeah.
You know, some of them were just all over the place. So we would throw paintbrushes, things at them just to see what they would gravitate to. And those kids loved putting little pieces together, loved doing puzzles. You know, they like to draw and paint. You know, and they made a mess, no problem. We'll clean it up later. But we started to see where there was a lot of need, and
Especially engagement. you know.
engagement,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But we
yes.
were really shocked with the whole literacy thing because, you know, we were like, wait a minute, this child is already in 5th grade and they can't read
They can't
simple
read,
words.
yep.
And we tried to create a literacy program, and unfortunately, it was shut down.
It got shut down.
So,
yeah, so
Right.
all the things that, you know, we were firsthand, you know, with the community. I was the outreach manager, she was the office manager, and, you know, you came to one of the
Yes,
event where
yes.
it was literally just me.
Yes. And your daughter's working also.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, you know, so when, you know, every Monday when I will have to give my report about, you know, what happened and all the programs that I feel like, you know, Maya and I will talk about, like, oh my gosh, this is needed. Can we do something like this? We'll go all, you know, a lot of the stuff we will start working on before we even present it. We've put in the time, you know, and then it gets shut down. It's like, no. So it's
I know
all
the
of that that's very
experience.
frustrating.
Right. I came there.
Yeah.
I took the tour, and then I said, oh, we can cover all of these walls with artwork. I called my team in, they agreed with it, and
Yeah.
then nothing. You know what I'm
nothing.
saying?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
nothing happened. And I feel art is very much needed in a lot of these communities because they look what their visual is.
Right.
You know, so how can that motivate them when they're looking at something like that?
Yeah.
That's very depressing.
Yeah.
You know, how the structure and the setup these neighborhoods have, you know, art should be included more. And engagement,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
When I was growing up, I
Very
read
well.
everything. Okay, it's not just reading in books; it's reading.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's reading.
right? It's just
Anything.
reading. We have words on our clothing. It's everywhere.
Everywhere.
And if you're not engaging them and pushing them and, you know, directing them to do that more, then you don't suffer, they suffer.
They suffer.
Okay, and they are the future.
The future,
So,
yeah.
you know, just
So
imagine the
it is the way.
generations that come behind them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we need to fix this. Once again, I commend y'all on the job that y'all are doing and that you took on. Because it's big here. It's real big here.
It's very big, yes.
Yeah.
I know we don't want to talk about it, but have you had any oppositions with what you're trying to do now?
I don't think with us particularly, because I think we've kind of kept it, we've been
Okay.
trying to keep it on the low until we actually get really
Okay.
truly off the ground. But we've met some amazing people already
Great,
that are willing
great,
to work with us.
great.
And so that's you know, that's the start for us to get through this. And you know, the only thing that we're finding a little bit of a barrier is with the 529 501c3, excuse me. So you know, we did all the paperwork. We're just waiting to get it. So you know, we don't have grants. So unfortunately, it's very difficult to get finances to be
Right.
able to continue to these programs, to bring these programs into the spaces.
Right.
You know, because we are mobile right now. So a lot of the time, we're spending our own money
Yes.
in trying to run these
Right.
programs, and it's okay because we love it. This is where our heart
Right,
is. But we
right.
also single moms raising our
Yes.
children on our own.
Yes.
So it can be difficult. But you know, once we get this off the ground, we definitely are going to go in there, you know, with our hearts on our sleeves, making sure that we reach as many people in the community as we can, especially with meeting the people who we're meeting, because we are meeting some amazing people.
Great.
But we're very cautious as to who we talk to and who we want to work with, because we don't want to find ourselves again partnering with an institution or an organization that's going to feel like they can hijack what we're doing, and at the end of the day, the work that we truly want to do, the difference that we truly want to do, the community doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's what
Right.
we don't want to happen. You know, that's what we're trying to avoid, that these things do not happen. And it's not just that. We also created a curriculum that we want to bring into schools.
Okay.
And you know, and again, it's adaptable. We can change it according to the grades, because we know there's a lot of mental and emotional issues in schools, with especially kids having a hard time at school with bullying. You know, with the crimes in the community, with fear. So we created a curriculum based on the same thing, using creativity to get these kids to self-regulate, to calm down, to find a safe place. You know, so there's a lot that we're trying to do, and you know, we just hope that once we get the grants that we need, that we can actually move forward with intention and getting these things done the way
Yes.
that we envision.
Yes, and that's also much needed, because the schools, I hate to say it, but you probably did more than the teachers, the principals, the chancellor, or whoever that is, have tried to done here. Okay, here everything is Patrides, but every child here is not accepted to Patrides.
Right.
And that becomes an issue there, you know. And then the curriculum, it's schools here that don't even have modern technology. It's kids here who are not benefiting from, you know, all the advancements that came in education.
Right.
And like I said, we have teachers who they'll tell these children they can't have their phones, but then they're in the classroom or they're at the desk on their phone. You know, so it's like
Yeah.
a catch-22.
Right.
Like, why are you taking their phones, but then they have to sit there and watch you on your phone all day?
Yeah.
You know, it can get frustrated because the average parent is like, oh, just let them take your phone, and
Yeah.
they're not really looking into the bigger issue, okay, of classroom management, of what are the lessons, what kind of curriculum are you teaching here, you know?
And you know, a lot of children have this, you know, a lot going on at home. You know, so school is supposed to be a safe space,
Yes.
at least a little escape for them. You know, and then they're met with adults that really do not care. Or, you know, the programs don't really work for them. There's not anything that is, you know, really beneficial to them. So I feel like that's where outside programs come in to support. You know, we're not saying that they are doing anything wrong, but we just want to offer an alternative, a different way of looking at things, a different way of approaching, because, you know, I used to go to the schools and do programs there. So I see also the need there. And, you know, a lot of teachers don't have the time to deal with that one kid that's it's just bad kid. It's just a bad kid.
Overcrowded classes.
Yeah,
And then
you
a lot of
know.
times that kid is not really
Exactly.
the bad kid. It's just that they label him the bad kid.
Yes.
And then they just carry that stigma with them. And they're like, well, I'm the bad kid anyway.
Yeah.
So let me just
I'm
do
gonna
something.
just act up anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
When, you know, there's an alternative way, there's a different way of approaching that kid. Have you tried talking to that kid? Have you tried giving that kid something else to do? You know, engaging in them.
Right.
You know, just a way for them to just, you know, calm down, just stop for a minute, look at me. You know, it's really heartbreaking
Right.
when I used to go to the schools, because, you know, it's just, oh, this kid is just really bad. And, you know, they just give all the kids personal information out to you. And it's just like, okay, what do you do?
Right.
What have you done?
Right.
You know, what is your plan? How do we make sure this kid, when this kid leaves here, going back home to the same situation, when they come back here to the same situation, because you're just labeling them?
Yes.
How about
Right.
we give them a little grace? Like, how can we help them?
Right. And then a lot of them, it's like almost 80% don't have a home.
Yeah.
They're homeless kids that's going to school
Yes,
now.
they are. Yeah, yeah.
And that alone in itself, you know, isn't too much to handle for
Yes.
children.
Yes.
For adults without a home is hard. But when children don't have that home, they don't have that security. When you don't have that security, it's like these walls come up because you don't know who's trustable, who's really trying to help you, and you know.
Yeah, it
When
eats
you-
them up.
And you listen to them,
Yeah.
and you let them tell their story, and just listen. You can help them more than just trying to treat them like a textbook. Okay? And this is what I find a lot with the schools. I had a lot of problems with my son in school, really all of my children, between the bullying with the children and then the bullying that we was just talking about, because I find that as a form of bullying. You know what I'm saying? Let you speak, let you observe, let you see for yourself. Don't tell me about this kid and what he did and you know what he's capable of or whatever, because in reality you don't know really what they're capable of.
Exactly.
Okay? And they're always sitting on greatness, you know. I want to tell one more story, and I'm gonna send it back to y'all. We have a performing arts school here, okay, that preyed on neighborhood kids, okay, for their funding, but these kids were not included in none of the performing arts program. Okay.
It makes me angry.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, what we're seeing a lot of, that a lot of people would say, well, but there are resources out there. I'm like, yeah, but what are they doing with those resources? Because obviously it's not going to the community.
Right.
Because that's where we're seeing is, like, if you're getting a grant to build a library and tackle literacy, you know, then why aren't we having classes? Why aren't we having story time? You know, so those are the things that Adama and I we're kind of like seeing every single day whenever we propose something. You know, what about a class where parents can come and just spend a few hours painting with their children? You know,
Right.
it's interaction. They get to talk to their kids in a safe environment. Oh no, we can't do that.
And then it's something that they can take home also
Absolutely.
and do at home, and it don't have to be about school. It's just finding these connections, and that's a great connection to have when you bring them in, you know what I'm saying, as a child, you might not want to see your parent there, but as a parent, you want to be there for your child. You want to see what the environment is. Those are like, I won't say like second parents or babysitters, but when you put your children in these people's hands, okay, you want to know that they're good.
Right. And it doesn't even take a lot for you to take a moment just to specifically reach out to a child that may be going through a difficult moment. Because sometimes, you know, just listening for a few seconds, you can decipher every little thing that they might be going through.
Yes.
And then you can approach it differently and not judge them from the very beginning. You know, and I
Yes.
think, you know, those are little things that sometimes people miss. That, you know, like I said, with Open Streets, all you had to do was just give him a book and sit there with them for a few minutes and read, and they were
Yes.
happy. They
Yes.
left with a different mindset.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to do more. You know, and it was just wonderful to see that change in their eyes when you actually would sit with them and interact with them for a few minutes. You know, we
Right.
had a little boy who doused himself with paint. And it was the most hysterical thing, but the child left with a big smile on his face.
Right.
You know, so those are things that sometimes can make such a big difference if we actually took the time
Right,
to
and then
listen and just to engage with them.
it also allows them to be themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And not have to be anybody else. You know, I met one of the neighborhood residents, Kim. Okay, very nice. Her granddaughter,
Chanel.
yes. Okay, very nice. And I feel I've seen her a few times after, and it all goes back to the same thing. Exactly what your organization is doing is what is needed in these neighborhoods. Okay, it's so much needed. People don't understand.
Yeah.
People don't understand the funding. It has to go the right way.
Yes.
It cannot go in your pocket. Okay? This is a very political borough, but I noticed like one group will make sure they people have everything, and then the other group, I'm not, you know, we've heard the horror stories. We've seen, okay, the conditions of the neighborhoods that they represent, okay? I had a few say, oh no, I'm state, I'm not city, but when it's time to vote for you, you sure is in the city for these votes, right? So you make your mind up, you understand what I'm saying? And they're never held accountable, okay?
Yes.
And then that money disappear, and they're good, okay? Their family is good, but so many other families, okay, they suffer,
Yeah.
okay? And it's just like, tough it up. How can you tell people to tough it up when something was taken from them, you know? Where is the enforcement that you're gonna go, okay, and hold them accountable for what they done and fix it, a resolution, okay? Just saying, oh, we're gonna look into it, that's not a resolution.
That's not easy.
Because a lot of times they don't get back there. And then people get frustrated to say, well, they ain't do nothing last time. And then that becomes the normal. And then people
Yes.
don't speak up, okay?
That's definitely something, yeah.
And then it gets worse and worse and worse. And it's almost to the point of no return,
Yeah.
you know?
I feel like you know when an organization is within a community and that community is not doing any better, you know. So it's just like, why are you here?
It's
Why are
failed.
you
It's failed.
here?
Right. It's
You
failed.
know, you're failing the people. You are, you know, taking from them and you're failing them. You're
Yes.
not doing anything for the community that you are in, you
Right.
know. So
Even with the space
it's
that they
frustrating.
have.
Yeah.
I mean, because we worked with the organization that had a space.
Oh, Lord,
and
I've seen
I'm like,
it.
why
Right.
aren't we inviting people to come here? And it's like
Yeah.
they didn't want it to be troubled with all the, you know, with having so many people coming in and opening and closing and having, and it's like, but you know, Adama and I were the ones going out into the community. And part of it was because there was a language barrier. But thankfully, between Adam and I, we speak different languages. So we were able to actually go out into the community and speak the language that they needed to understand who we were when we brought to the community. But they still didn't feel like they wanted to come because it didn't feel right. It
There
didn't
was
feel
no
welcoming.
inclusion of
Yeah.
them,
There was
you
no
know?
inclusion. It was just a building.
Right, there was no inclusion. There should have been a survey
Yes.
given out, okay? And include them of what they would like and what they would like to see, and then you had a better idea of how to build this foundation,
Yes.
you know? these people, they're self only. Okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And then when you look at some of the programs, it get like that, to where it's something that they like, or they, for them, it benefits. You know, I have nothing against chess. I think chess, okay, it applies to life. But then these neighborhoods need more than chess.
They
okay?
need more than chess. Yeah.
Right.
Like what else?
Well, it's especially a lot of these children
Yeah.
don't understand the board game,
Right.
and you know, to have somebody teach them, to them sometimes it can get a little bit boring. You know, kids are kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
they're
you
yeah.
have to, like, you can't go textbook with everything.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You have to apply all of those same moves to life,
To life.
and get them to understand.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's it.
Before you make your next move, you think 3 steps ahead. You think 4 steps ahead. Okay. And then it'll start even sinking in more,
Yes.
and we can get even more greatness out of them. Okay.
Exactly.
It's, you know, it's sad, like the artwork, okay? They're not even keeping that up. The paint is peeling. So now you're bringing lead paint to the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? You're bringing another issue over there. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And then who's going to address that?
Yeah.
Because we don't have the funding to treat them for this lead
Exactly.
paint that you done gave them. You understand what I'm saying?
Truly.
And we need to really fix a lot of this stuff.
Yes.
We really do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna hold y'all to your word that y'all
Yes.
gonna include all the communities.
Yes.
You
We
know,
surely
I
are.
left out South Beach. They had a good program, but it was just for young boys and men. Okay.
Yeah.
What-
What
right.
about, yeah.
Right.
What about
Right.
the other part?
All inclusive.
Inclusive.
Stop
That's our
saying
goal.
just for this person and
Yeah.
just for that person.
Yeah.
Everybody's welcome.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We need more of that.
Yes.
We need to watch who we are putting in these positions
Yes.
and
And hold them accountable, like you
to a
said.
standard.
To a
Right.
standard, yeah.
Why can we keep donating and giving you these grants and we see no growth? We see no progress.
We see no progress.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't see where, you know,
Yeah.
all of this money is going towards besides your pocket
Yeah.
once again.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. We are, you know, we're committed. We are mothers, and
Yes.
you know, I think that says a lot about the journey and that we've already been through, and I think that's where we have the passion to even want to do more. It's about creating a space not only for ourselves, like, you know, we have the next generation behind us.
Yes.
You know, they're looking at what we are doing.
Yes.
You know, we want them to continue this work. This is not just like, okay, once Maya and I are done, it's done. No, no, no. This is for them to continue the work, to go be a
continue
part
the
of
thread.
this community. You
Yes.
know, and that's why we
Positive part of the community,
yes,
right.
exactly. You know, and
That's
that
why
was
we brought Malia on board.
Yeah.
Because you know she brings that element of the people in her same age group
Mm-hmm.
that really need a lot of help with that aspect of trying to navigate the school system
Mm-hmm.
and navigate the challenges that they face at school. So you know that's why we brought her in as,
Oh,
as a
wow.
youth ambassador.
We can hear her voice also,
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
and you know, when we
I hate to
we
put you on
took
the spot, but you're here in person, so we can hear, you know.
And it was when we did the what was it, the SIPs. We were doing
We did
a
the
class,
training.
a training, and one of them was the mental illness, mental issues with teenagers. Remember that? And how the rates were alarming. It
Yes.
was alarming, you know.
Yes.
So
'Cause
again,
nobody listens to them,
yeah,
so that could
exactly.
drive you crazy
Yep,
alone.
Yep. You know, and she's in high school, and you
Don't tell
know.
the story.
Okay.
She got the mic. She can say-
She's
Right.
All right,
firsthand,
there we go.
She knows exactly what,
Yeah.
what they're
Yes.
going through. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please enlighten us, Malia. Just tell us a little bit about how important it is for you working with your mom and Maya and the organization, and what it does for you, what it does for your peers. Anything else you want to say too?
Well, the Wellness, Institute, it can help with like your focus and your mental state, which also obviously can affect your school. Which, you know, if everything's going on in your head and you know you're not focused and things are happening at home or just anything else, and you're like mentally like too busy, then you obviously won't be able to focus on the important stuff like school. And that's where we see like kids that have like low grades, even though they are smart children.
Right.
It's because they're too like mentally like clouded, and they don't have the focus to actually pursue their grades and, you know, like success in school,
Yeah.
which is like not healthy for them, of course.
Okay. All right. We ain't gonna bug you too much. You got any more to say?
That was good.
It also helps me because it can, you know, heighten your like ambition and like challenge you to like do more in life. You know, even after school, it can like help you find a career or like a job, or even if you want to do the same thing that they're doing and become like a mental health teacher and help the other children that you know are
Yes.
struggling.
Yes. I thank you. I thank you. And how great is it having a mom like your mom? Because I always commend on how well behaved and just quiet and just, you know, like kids want, when I grew up, they said not to be heard, just to be seen.
Yes.
Now it turned into they want all of this attention, so they just want to be seen more. And y'all doing a great job. Your mom did a great job with y'all, and you know, keep up the good work. Now, you have anything you want to say over here? You want to say something? What's your name again? Please tell me.
Miley.
Miley. Okay.
But to jump in quickly with Miley, Miley's going to show you exactly what we do with the kids when
Okay,
we do
great.
programs. You know, she did some beautiful stuff, and I think she's stuck. She did some beautiful stuff that she's learned with her mom.
Yeah.
The bag?
The cord.
Oh.
The cord got stuck under here. You got it?
Yeah, we got it. So get her stuff that we want to show for her, because we just said we was going to show her beautiful stuff. Is it in the
I'll
bag
hold
here?
this for you so you can see.
Yeah.
But you can show your bracelet that you're making right now. You want to talk about it? Talk about your bracelet?
You could just say hi if you want. Just let them know you in the house. That's it. Right.
Say something, baby.
Because
What do
you
you
know on
wanna
TV,
say?
we can't have no quiet time.
Yes.
That's why we keep talking right now. So, this is Miley. She'll be back. When she come back, then you'll get her story, okay? All right.
You
Thank
say what you're making?
I'm making a jellyfish bracelet, and it like helps you with your focus, and like if you're stressed out, you could just like make it, and it'll make you
Tell her to
feel
pull the mic
better.
up.
You'll like not be stressed out anymore.
Mm-hmm. Good. Can you show us? Let's see. Look how far you've gone. Good job. And how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really like not stressed out, and it's like makes me feel comfortable and not have me like bored or anything.
Good.
Very good.
Good.
Yes. Great job.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great job.
And Malia, you want to show us what you're making?
I made like this stitched embroidery flower. You use like a needle and thread. It's, I don't know if you can see it. But it's a flower, and you use like different colors, and there's different like sewing techniques that you use to get like the patterns and, you know, make it look pretty. And it's just like a fun activity for kids to do, but can also like teach them skills like, you know, how to hand stitch and sew. That can also like apply to their life or whatever they want to do when they grow up.
Yes, thank you. So we talked about Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday programs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are they actively going now?
Well, right now we're putting it out there so
Okay,
people can
all right.
can see or come to the workshops. Adama is working on her Tea and Threads workshop,
Okay.
and I have a 9/11 workshop happening in late July, where we
Okay.
talk about grief and recovery. As a 9/11 survivor myself, you know, I worked for many years after that. In with the recovery workers, so it gave me the tools that I needed to be able to continue to use my story to help others recover from trauma. So
Yes.
I will be holding a class this is going to be in Manhattan in July, so we're putting the details out there soon. So we're working on a few workshops right now, and we hope to have people wanting us to come into their space so that we can bring those workshops to them.
Okay, great. And one last thing. I'm going to partner with y'all with some of this stuff, and we're going to make it happen.
Awesome.
But please give them a way to contact y'all if they need to contact y'all now. What would be the best way to reach y'all?
You have the number, right?
Oh, I was
Yeah.
trying to find it
they
now.
can reach us through either our website at the www.thehealingthreads.org, or they can email us at info@thehealingthreads.org, and we just got our phone number, so we don't know it by heart just yet.
I know it. I'm
We're
trying
pulling
to
it up.
find it.
We're getting it.
Where is it? It's somewhere on our website. Let's see. Contact us. Where is it? Sorry.
It's okay.
I can't find
It's
it.
fine.
But
they
did
can,
you give our
email,
Instagram?
yeah, and they can follow us on Instagram. Yes.
Is the Healing Threads NYC. So you can find us online. You could call us. We'll give our number. Shoot, where is
Check
it?
your contact.
Where? Sorry.
Your own contact. Remember I called you?
Oh, I don't think I added it
Yeah,
on
so
my
we're working on our phone number.
We're working on my phone number.
Hit the
It's
emails
new.
up, right? Hit the website up.
Hit the website
And inbox
and the
them and ask them
Instagram.
for the phone numbers. But it should be
Yes.
on the site anyway.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's
it
a good
is.
way to go
Yes.
find it.
Definitely.
Once again, I thank all of y'all for coming out.
Thank
Y'all
you.
invited to come back. We're going to continue and bring you back with the progress and the success stories and some of your clients and the tea and
Yes, yes,
everything you
yes.
got going on. Infinity, I know Infinity's in the house out
Yes, it is. Hi, Infinity.
there. All right.
Hello.
Right. Grab
Where's the mic?
Grab this right here.
Yes,
What you got for
I
us?
am yours truly, the Dub Poet Infinity. Today I'm talking about my new album called The United States of Africa. So, as I always say, the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be phone-devised. The revolution will not be cyberspaced or interneted. The revolution must be captured within your cerebral hemisphere. It's a mind thing. You must create it in your mind. So when I say death to colonialism and its tentacles of apartheid that divides, conquers, and subjugates, exploits, and exterminates, it's about a spiritual emancipation to evade such terrible atrocities that has been in the heads of all of us for the last 10,000 years. I am yours truly, the Dub Poetical, Vertical, Musical Mind Stimulator. And this is a tribute to my album, The United States of Africa. We declare our rights on this earth to be a nation and to be respected as a nation. We demand the rights and honor as a nation in this time, in which we forward the infinite existence of the new Africa World Agenda. On that album are many tracks, very important. What about the poor? What about the poor? You can't take it no more. After generations have been poor, all I see massive, wealthy, massive, rich, and poor, poor, poor. You can't take it no more. Flat feet, pan the concrete, no money, no food, and life well funny. What you gonna do, Mr. Government Man? Instead of incarceration, what about rehabilitation? You say you're from the old school. School should be the life of today. School should be the order every day, because life without school ain't cool. So we must check the facts. Check the facts. We're from the old school. Nothing is new. Nothing is new. How you feeling, people?
Good.
Welcome to SINY. We have a very great program to see these lovely ladies demonstrating the powers of women, because we are in a time when the matriarchal balance must come full circle, because we are in that time where we must wake up from ills and confusions. So we say, no more wars, no more wars. What are we fighting for? No more wars, no more wars. We're stars that came from afar. Wars annihilate. Wars depopulate. War devastates as lives go to waste. Love is lovely, love is godly, love is the essence of life. So we say, make love and not war. What are we fighting for? 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 Say, no more wars, because, behold, I see genocide. Geographically, eradicating natural original citizens, indigenous descendants everywhere. Genocide. Gino, watch your hide. As David go lay at genocide. Gino, watch you hide. I see genocide. 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 To be free, we must love freedom. To be free, we must love people. A people that love freedom will in the end be free. Welcome aboard Flight 999 to Deep Space Nine. On this mind flight, no seatbelts are required, just a positive state of mind. Because remember, emancipation is liberation. Liberation, liberation. I am yours truly, the Dog Poet Infinity. You can catch my new album, United States of Africa, on all social media platforms on the SPI label. One love. One love.
Thank you. And then to say thank you for having this conversation.
Official catchy jingle. From the city till I ecstatically iterate. Live that SINY. Time trips on the mind. Wake vibe too strong, he's in the top to life.